Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everybody. Great to see you here. I am Mary Grace, and this is Mary Grace TV. I'm coming to you live, and it's a little later than I thought it would be because we didn't have internet for a few hours. And so I appreciate everybody stopping by, even though it was later. We are streaming on Rumble, we're streaming on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Clout Hub, a bunch of places. And so wherever you're tuning in from, please say hello. Please drop a hello and a thumbs up in the comments. And if you're watching later on replay, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a comment. And then also, especially on Rumble, go and hit the thumbs up underneath the video. That apparently helps us on Rumble. And every time you leave comments and things like that, it helps as well. So appreciate everybody being here. I have a really good interview to play for you tonight. This is an interview that I recorded a couple of days ago, and it's an inspiring story. I like to give you stories like this because it helps when we have a bunch of crazy news and things that seem to be going wrong all the time. I really think it helps to have stories of people who are doing amazing and inspirational things around the country. And so you're going to love this. I did an interview with America's top cheesecake therapist. And so for my cheesecake fans, you will find out how to get cheesecake too when during the interview. So that's kind of fun. But everybody that's here, please do say hello and just let us know you're here. Hi, Chris on Facebook. I'm hoping that we get a little more of an audience here. We'll just see who comes on. I haven't seen anybody on YouTube yet. I hope it's streaming over there. We are live on Instagram. That's good. As we're waiting for people to come in, I wanted to remind you that we had a few really good interviews up here on Mary Grace TV over the last week. A week ago today, we had Praying Medic with us, and that was a very long conversation. If you have some time tomorrow, I do encourage you to go and just listen to that. Do it while you're enjoying your Sunday, getting chores done, whatever it is. It was we covered a lot of ground. I also had Sam Faddis on this week, Sam the Spy, and he is always a favorite with the show. And so if you can go back and find those, it's not always easy to find the replays when you're going around the main interwebs because of the algorithms. So make a point of doing that. You can also always go to my website, marygracemedia.com, and you can find all of my channels on that website, marygracemedia.com, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube. Just click right on the channel and it'll take you there so that you can find the videos. And then, of course, make sure you get on the mailing list on marygracemedia.com so that you will not miss a show. I always post an email before a show is going live or when it goes live so that you won't miss anything. So I hope everybody's doing okay tonight. And like I said, I think you're going to love this interview. And it was very encouraging. And this is somebody that I met actually in March out in Tulsa. And I was really impressed just listening to her story. Let's see, we've got in Facebook, we got Donna here, Cy, Kevin. Hey, Kevin. Donald Thompson, Chris Birch. Yeah, so hopefully we'll get a few more people coming in. You never know with these platforms. And so when you hit the thumbs up, when you chat in the live, when you leave a comment later, when you share it, that's how everybody gets the word. Okay. So without further ado, I am going to get out of the way and I'm going to replay this interview that we did the other day. And so you won't see me talking to you from here, but I will check the chat. Let me see if anybody's on Rumble. Let me just check that. Okay. Well, let me see. You never know. We got a couple of thumbs up over there. Okay, yeah, we've got people watching on Rumble. Hey, from Pennsylvania. Okay, so good. Looks like more people are getting the word. Again, I apologize for being late. We didn't have internet, and hopefully we will have internet for the rest of the night. If something goes wrong here and the stream goes down, that's what is happening. But hopefully that won't be an issue. So here we go. I hope everybody has a great night. I hope that you enjoy this interview and that you find it encouraging. It will definitely take your mind off of some of the crazier things that are happening out there right now. So, without further ado, the America's top cheesecake therapist. Grace TV. I'm Mary Grace, your host and founder of Mary Grace Media Network. And I have an amazing interview right here with you today lined up for you. And this is somebody that I have known about for quite some time and just recently had the pleasure of meeting in person, Jen Jacobson Brusa. She is the founder of Beloved Cheesecakes out in Oregon. Yes, she's coming to us from the left coast, and she is a survivor of so many things. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. Jen, welcome to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
It looks like you're right there in the shop.
Yes, we are in the shop.
So
noise.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Your story is amazing, and our hopefully our listeners will go and find your shop and find you online and order your cheesecake. I had some of your cheesecake, and it's delicious. It's everything that you say it is. And I want to talk about this. I want to talk about the cheesecake, but I want to talk a little bit about your story and how you came to be a cheesecake chef and the owner of a beautiful restaurant, because that's not how you started. Tell us about your journey.
And my title, just so you're aware, is a cheesecake therapist.
Cheesecake therapist, right? Because of your background in social work, right? Okay, yeah, tell us that. Cheesecake therapist.
So I came out of a domestic violence marriage almost 10 years ago. And I was a stay-at-home prior to that. And I was very involved. I have 3 boys, and I was very involved in their schooling after school a lot as the mom volunteer. I was on the parent, what do they call them? The parent PTA clubs or whatever. And anyway, so when I ended up separated and I didn't have a job, I didn't have anything lined up, my first job I got was working waitressing and working at a winery. And then I ended up on this food share program for low income. And a year into my separation, I got this flat of blackberries, and I thought, what am I going to do with all these blackberries? It was in December 2015. And I've always liked to bake here and there, but rarely had time anymore. And so I decided I'll make a blackberry cheesecake for my kids' school, the staff, just to thank them so much because they had been so supportive throughout my journey with the boys. And I never made a blackberry cheesecake before, didn't know if it was all the way done, didn't know how it tastes, because you can't cut into a cheesecake.
Right. Yeah.
And so I didn't know how to take a cheesecake off the pan. So thank goodness we have YouTube, and I YouTube how to do it. I went to Michael's and got a cake box. And from there, I presented it to the staff and gave it to them the day before Christmas break. Didn't hear anything. And then the day of Christmas break, when I was picking up my boys, the secretary said, Jen, where did you get the cheesecake? And I said, I made it. And she was like, what? Get out of here. That was the best cheesecake they ever had. And she was going to let all the staff know. And it just gave me the idea of, I'll make cheesecake for Christmas this year for friends and family. And I'll pair it with wine. I work at a winery. I'll get a discount.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. It just so happened to be my very first Christmas without my boys. So it became therapy for me, where my mind stopped racing and I was so focused on cheesecake. the day after Christmas, I posted on my personal Facebook my cheesecake creations, and I had 3 people reach out and say, hey, would you make us one for New Year's and we'll pay you? And I was shocked. One, I don't write about taking money from friends, but
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I was just shocked. And that's how it started. And it just became word of mouth and this little side hustle that accidentally started.
Accidentally. I want to, I mean, and you know, right now, the way you're describing it, it sounds like homemade, right?
Yeah,
And so I want to just play something really quickly for our listeners.
sure.
I was on your website, kind of cruising around, and I just put together a little compilation of some of your creations. This is next level cheesecake, you guys. So, and for our keto crowd, there is a keto cheesecake, and you do mail order. So this you're telling us the beginnings, but this is you've come a long way,
Yes.
and in a short time with lockdowns in
Yes.
between. And so we're going to talk about that in a minute too, but let me just show everybody what you're talking about here. This is not like your kitchen table cheesecake and definitely not like something out of a box. So let's just look at this. Okay, that was just a short snippet. I could play it like 5 times, but and everybody needs to go back and slow that down. But better yet, go to the website and just I mean, it's like cheesecake bliss. You know? And everything is so beautiful. Your photos are beautiful. Everything is so beautiful. And but let's talk about how you went from making cheesecakes for New Year's to making cheesecakes as a business and actually opening a restaurant in Oregon of all places. Tell us about that because this part of the story is so moving. And one of the things I like to do on this channel is present stories of hope and of God's redemption and of how he takes the broken things and the lost and the hopeless and turns it around into helping people walk into their destiny. And I think your story is a fantastic example of that. So tell us how you got from kitchen table cheesecakes, uh, side hustle, to having a full-blown restaurant and a mail order business and supplying restaurants.
Yes. Well, I said accidentally, but it's definitely Godcidentally, right? This is
Yes, yes.
100% God. When I was doing the side hustle of cheesecakes, my focus was never to have my own business. I wasn't far from my mind. I actually ended up going to school full time for social work, and I got my bachelor's in social work in 2018. And my internship during my social work program was in criminal justice, and I was in parole and probation. So I really thought that was the direction that I was going to be going.
Mhm.
Throughout my schooling, I would bring cheesecakes to celebrate when a term was over. And,
Mhm.
everyone just kept saying, Jen, you need to open up a shop. And I said, never. I never had the desire to have my own business. My ex-husband was self-employed. I know how much work it takes, that you're married to it. And so I graduated June 2018. The direction that I wanted to go, the doors weren't opening. And in 2019, well, it was at the end of 2018, I had a lady, I had my little business cards that said Cheesecake by Jen. That's what I went by. And I had
Yeah.
them at different grocery stores on bulletin boards. I had this lady call me and she said, I didn't know we had a cheesecake shop in our area. And I was like, oh, no, it's not a shop. I said, I just do it from home. And she said,
Mhm.
I'm the editor of our paper. I write stories, and I wondered if I could write a story on you. And I was like, not right now. I came out of domestic violence. At that time, I was in a confidentiality program where I was, my ex couldn't find me.
Sure.
I just wasn't right. And plus I wasn't a certified kitchen. I'm just doing this work, you know, a little
Kitchen
side
table. Yeah.
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 So I said, maybe someday. And she's like, okay, well, you know, if you're ever, you know, do your own thing, let me know. I'd love to do a story on you. I was like,
Nice.
okay. But for some reason, God used that to pique my curiosity. And I started looking on Craigslist for food trucks just to see how much they were. And that was in October of 2018. In December of 2018, I was going for a walk with a friend, and I noticed a space in our town was available. And the people that were cleaning it out, they were there. And I just, out of sheer curiosity, and just inquired. And so they were like, we can hold it for you so you can look in to see what you need to do. And so for the month of December, they held it for
Wow.
me. I had no idea what I was doing, and I just started the groundwork of
Yeah.
learning and asking questions. And next thing I know, I reserved the space in January of 2019. I didn't have a business name. I didn't, you know, everybody's brainstorming, my kids and myself. And it was about 4:00 one morning. I sat straight up and I was like, that's it. It's Beloved Cheesecakes. I am his beloved. He is mine. This is 100% God. It's his company. It's not mine. And then shortly after that, a Kickstarter was started for me, and the whole town and community friends from out of state were all supporting Beloved Cheesecakes. And it's a crowdfunder. It reached the the goal. And here I opened a brick and mortar in August of 2019. And it was wild, but it was going so good. It was way more than I ever could imagine. Again, I didn't feel comfortable in the shoes of being a business owner. My shoes were very tight, and probably they're just like brand new shoes, and they were uncomfortable, and I just wanted to put on my old shoes and my comfort zone. But as time went on, you know, I feel like I'm starting to run in my shoes. But it's just been an amazing journey. But then, of course, we had the lockdown, and that's a whole nother story.
And it's an interesting part of the story. Now, your husband now, when did he come into the picture? Because
He came in June of 2020.
Okay, because he was the one who called me.
Yeah.
And was raving about you and you know, just obviously is your biggest fan.
Yes.
And so that's wonderful to have somebody in your corner like that. But your children are also involved in your business. Your son was with you at the conference where I met you, and he's front of the house.
Yeah.
Actually all over, really.
Yeah, he actually is co-owner with me.
Okay.
I mean, I haven't put him on yet, but he definitely is going to be in that direction.
Okay.
Entrepreneur minded, and you know, all my boys have been with me from the beginning. My oldest son, who's now in Florida, he was my main baker with me. And he swore he would never bake another cheesecake in his life. And then he's in YWAM, and here he goes to Florida in YWAM. And what is he doing? He's baking cheesecakes for their graduations.
So that means we may have an East Coast Beloved Cheesecakes.
Yes, exactly. Someday. That is the plan.
Okay. Well, there's room in Virginia. I don't think we have a cheesecake shop up here. So
Awesome.
very, very interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's so exciting. I love to see how God opens doors and at the same time gives us the choice of walking through them. Because, you know, obviously you had these little ideas, you had this little inkling, and you had people planting the seed and saying, okay, what if, and then you were going, what if, and you stopped on a nudge and looked at the space. And it's kind of funny to me because a lot of times, I mean, I know a lot of people who open businesses and they go into it with a business plan and a financial plan and spreadsheets, like all of these things. And then they're looking for the exact right spot. And just they're doing market surveys and studies and all of these things. And you're going, this is vacant. Maybe it's my shop, and so I love that the way that God just put it right there in front of you. And
Oh,
I
100%.
right? And I think this is a good example of how when we're partnering with God, things can be very simple.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that they're always easy, but I think they can be more simple than we allow them to be, because we tend to get in the way sometimes. And I want to talk about, though, the complications that came at you totally unexpected, out of the blue. You are in business for just over 6 months, and then boom, you get hit by pandemic.
Oh yeah.
Uh, Talk about that a little bit, because that actually brought you into a new level of community involvement and activism that, again, was not really on your bingo card ever, right?
Not at
Business
all.
owner, cheesecake baker, cheesecake therapist, employer of all kinds of people. And yeah, now you're like locked down and you can't run your business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it was definitely wild because I am the community that I was in. We had this Kickstarter, the crowdfunding. I mean, the community rallied behind Beloved Cheesecakes. They loved me and my sons. And then it changed when the lockdown happened. My biological father was a meth addict, and so he died when I was 14. He was 39. My mom, my biological mom, never a part of my life, and no siblings, so I'm the only child. And when the lockdown happened, I am a sole parent to 3 boys, and my ex has not been involved at that point, I think, for 3 years. And so I truly am essential to my boys. And I worked really hard to get off the system. I appreciated, I was on food stamps. I got TANF, was on that food share program, but never was my plan to stay on it. My goal was to get off of it. So I did get off of it. And now the lockdown happens and you're telling me I have to get back on food stamps. And I didn't qualify for any of the PPP or whatever that was called.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't in business not even a year. And so it was really hard. So I did, out of my conviction and what I felt was right, I stayed open. And with that, I got a lot of backlash from my community. It was shocking at first because I thought they would be, understanding, but nope, they were not understanding. Received a lot of backlash. And then the George Floyd event happened. I didn't put Black Lives Matter in my window.
Yeah.
So then I was deemed racist. And then what was after that? The masks. I knew the masks were coming next. And I remember talking to another local Christian business owner, and I said, what are you guys going to do when the masks come? And they said, well, it's not a sin. It's the loving thing to do. And I just told the Lord, I said, you know what? You're going to have to audibly tell me to put on a mask. I can't do it. I had trauma in my childhood.
Yeah.
I work with people with special needs. You're telling me that I have to put a cover on people's face, make them, it's a sense of safety, like you're able to read people's facial expressions and taking that away from people. And so I was like, God, you will have to audibly tell me. And he never audibly told me. So I let them make their own decisions when they came in our shop, and at that time, like I said, I didn't know my husband. So that is why I chose to stay open. I didn't have a financial backing of any support. I met my husband in March of 20, no, we met in April 2020 at a park, but then that was it for 30 minutes. And then in June of 2020 is when we went on our first, date.
Kai, the Hawaiian. It's so, and it's so interesting. So tell us a little bit about what happened though during that time of COVID. When, like, when you say backlash, do you mean that people refused to patronize your business, that you were getting hate mail, that you like, what did that look like? And because I mean, you hear stories of so many people who complied, like the other Christians who said, "Oh, it's the loving thing to do." So walk us through a little more through your thought process. Why wouldn't you just do the easy thing?
Yeah. When I went through my divorce, took, I went through 4.5 years of hell, 12 court litigations, um, depositions, restraining order, stalking order. Oh my gosh. I was homeless for 3 weeks with the boys.
Whoa.
I mean, I can just tell you stories after stories, but the biggest thing was the 12 court litigations. And I have been in court 12 times. I represented myself the 11th time. And so I didn't understand when I was going through all of that. I was kind of like, God, why? I don't understand this. And then when all this happened, I was like, oh, okay. All right, I get it. It prepared me for such a time as this because
Mm,
I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid of OSHA. I wasn't afraid of the courts. I wasn't afraid if they find me or if they try to lock me down because I know the court system is a joke and they don't follow through. And so that's where my mindset was, is I really had strong convictions with the Lord, plus
mhm.
coming out of social work, the school of social work, you were taught the terminology is a sense of self-agency, and you don't tell people what to do. You let them make decisions for themselves. And so it was going against everything that I had just been taught, and to tell people, oh, you have to put on a mask, or you
Yeah.
can't dine in. I mean, I didn't even know. I mean, this is terrible. I didn't know our constitutional rights then when all this happened. I didn't know politics. I was just truly standing on my own true convictions. And it
Mhm.
wasn't until let's see, September of 2020, through a whole nother crazy God story, that Kirk Cameron and Pastor Rob McCoy ended up in my shop, and we did an hour interview. I mean,
Wow.
it's incredible. That's a whole
Yeah.
nother God story. But it was Pastor Rob McCoy who said, Jen, you need to get involved on the political level and the local level. And I was like, local level? I don't even know what that, I had no clue what that meant.
Mhm.
I didn't know the job of a mayor. I didn't know the job of a governor. I didn't know city council. I mean, none of this. And so I just started learning and educating myself. And then next thing I know, I'm really getting involved and I'm speaking out, and I'm realizing how important it is to vote, because prior to 2019, 20, I never voted. I could care. I couldn't care. Well, I could care less.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I really became involved, which then, because I was being loud about it and sharing, then that also got more hatred or backlash in the town. And so
Yeah.
I got hate mail. When I started learning my constitutional rights, I put a sign in my door that said, we're a constitutionally compliant business. We accept you if you're masked or maxless, vaxxed or vaxless, whatever gender you identify with, whatever religion you are, whatever race you are. We just want to serve you cheesecake. We just love people. And I had someone edit my sign like perfectly and say, we accept you if you're dirty, or we accept, I can't even remember, I have it, but if something like, we don't wash our hands, we are dirty or whatever. And I was just like, I just laughed. It was free entertainment for me when
Mhm.
I would get the OSHA complaint. I would get the OSHA calls. Um, Honestly, because going through everything with my ex-husband, it prepared me um,
Mm.
to just laugh at this stuff. I always just called it free entertainment. And still to this day, I mean, we get it because I'm not quiet about my beliefs. I'm
Yeah.
pro-America. I'm pro business, I'm pro Jesus, and we're not ashamed.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
ashamed.
And the irony of this is that you employ special needs individuals in your business. You have a very accepting and highly tolerant model. And the people who are preaching tolerance are the least accepting of you. And have you had any conversations or any encounters with anybody that you've been able to help them understand the hypocrisy? Have you had any encounters like that where it's just you've had opportunities to point this
Um,
out and to
I've
make inroads?
I've had one encounter that I can think of, and that was when I went to uh, it was a protest and public hearing at the Oregon Health Authority, and I wanted to go speak at the public hearing. So I went. I did have a sign because you have to wait in line. So I was like, I'll be out here with my little sign that
Mhm.
said "Liberty, liberty isn't comfortable," and so across the street was all Antifa, and it just, there's radical, crazy, right
Yeah,
wing people too. There are.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm like, I don't want to associate with you guys over there, because I don't believe in the bantering back and forth. There's no point to it. But
division.
yeah, it's just, so I stayed. I just wanted to be there. I just held my sign. But across the street, where the Antifa crowd was, there was a young gentleman that had a golden doodle, and I have a golden doodle. And so I was like, I was getting ready to leave. They didn't accept any more public testimony, and my younger son was with me, and I just said, I want to go ask that guy if his golden doodle eats socks, because ours eats socks. And
Yeah.
so I walk, as we're leaving, I walk across the street, and I asked, I'm holding my sign still, and I said, hey, I have a golden doodle just like yours. Ours eats socks. Anyways, through this conversation, yes, his does eat socks, and we end up talking. Well, this girl comes up, and she's got the goggles on, and she's got her full on, like, I don't know, the painter's mask,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
a hoodie. And, because she's wanting to see, what am I doing over there talking to him? And she says, can I ask you a question? What does your sign mean? Liberty isn't comfortable. And so I started explaining to her what that meant to me. And she says, well, I'm a single mom, and my kids have health issues, and they go to a public school, and I need them to be protected. And I said, you know what? We have some commonality, because I used to be a single mom. So I completely understand where you're coming from. You want to protect your children. I get it. I said, I'm a business owner. So I want to be able to provide for my children, and I don't want to turn anyone away from my business. And you should have the choice to come in my business if you want to wear a mask or not, and not me enforce it. So you have that choice to come in
Yeah.
if you want or not. It was incredible, because she was like, yeah, you're right, and I just said, and I give her my business card, and I said, you know what, you come in anytime and you tell me who you are, and you'll get a free slice of cheesecake on me, or whatever.
Yeah.
And that right there, to me, is if we can find the commonality, because we all
Mhm.
have commonality,
Yeah.
regardless if they want to believe it or not. We were all born from a womb, from a woman, regardless if they want to believe it or not. And so you can find common ground with people.
Mhm.
It's so that was a really cool conversation. I feel like that made
Mhm.
headway, and it wasn't
Yeah.
hatred or anger or whatever. Other than that, I never had anyone apologize to me, but if they started patroning my store, then I was like, oh, okay, that's your way of apologizing, and cool,
Yeah.
we appreciate the business, so we're not going to turn you away.
I was wondering about that. I was gonna ask if anybody actually apologized. And what you're saying is so important because I think that one of the things that I really saw during all of this is that there's a much bigger agenda which is to divide us.
Yeah.
And we saw that so much with the media driving these narratives that
Yep.
anybody that chose one way was, anti, and the others were good, morally good.
Yep.
And there was no in between. And so it became this thing where I was upset when they started these mandates, because I knew that it would pit hourly workers against the citizens,
Yep.
because they were pushing these people into positions of being enforcers. And
Yep.
that's not what they signed up for.
Right.
You didn't People who signed up to be a cashier at Home Goods never signed up to enforce, unlawful regulations. And yet they were put in that position of being pitted against people. And I always thought that was wrong, regardless of the circumstances. And so I had this level of compassion for the workers. I refused to comply, right?
Yep.
And if they confronted me, I would say, I understand that this is your job and you're being told to do this, but I don't think you understand that you're actually being used um, by a system that wants us to think that we're enemies. And I was in Whole Foods one time, and there was a lady there that was trying to tell me I had to leave the store. And I looked at her and I said, "You know who I am, and you've seen me in this store year after year after year. And now you're being put in a position of treating me like dirty, filthy vermin." I said,
Yep.
"Do you understand what's being done to you?" And it was really hard for her to register, but I had to speak the truth.
Yes.
And, I said, "What changed from last week to this week that made you believe that you have to treat me this way?"
Yep.
And I think that's just a key for people to recognize. And General Flynn's book, The Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare, they talk about that, the fact that in the information war, it's there's a big strategy of pitting neighbor against neighbor.
Yeah.
And that's to distract from a much bigger agenda. And that's something that we don't have time to talk about today, but I think that it sounds like you probably became a lot more aware of that through the process that God's brought you through. What's next for you at Beloved Cheesecakes?
Um, well, we are growing and scaling, so that is exciting. We do
Hmm.
ship all over the nation. We just actually got an endorsement letter from General Flynn last night,
Nice.
and so that's exciting. He endorses Beloved Cheesecakes. Um, and so we are just going to continue to grow and expand. This is a kingdom business, and my goal is that we grow where we can fund the end time harvest. We can fund. I want to be able to. I don't know if you know any history on In and Out, but that's a pretty fascinating story. And I've been reading their books, and they really
Okay.
care about their associates. And I'm like, that's me, and I really
Hmm.
want to be able to provide high-end jobs. I'm not there yet, but I will be
Hmm.
someday
Hmm.
for freedom-based people, I guess. And then also, I love people with barriers. I believe that we are not the mistakes that we are. So if people have a criminal background or trauma background or special needs,
Hmm.
I I do these group interviews, and I wish I could hire everybody.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. It's
yeah,
I think, one of the things that really stood out to me in listening to you when we were at the conference, for the listeners, we were at Clay Clark's business conference, which I highly recommend to
I
any
do too.
employee or business owner, or prospective business owner. If you're thinking about opening a business, this is
Yes.
really a critical, important conference. He has one coming up on the 27th and 28th of June. Tim Tebow is going to be there. And but one of the things that kept coming across in listening to you is that you have such a high level of confidence in your process and your ability and your product. And I've spent a lot of time around food and commercial kitchens and restaurants and big organizations. And I've lived and traveled abroad, and you can always tell when somebody actually loves what they do. When you get a plate of food or a dessert, even the way that it's presented to you,
Yes.
And that's something that comes across so genuinely in how you describe your work. I mean, just hearing you talk about the way that you make a sauce or the ingredients, it's such a high level of purity and quality that you're dedicated to. And so I know that you are going to succeed. I know that God is going to honor what you're doing because you move in integrity and excellence. And so I'm a cheerleader for you, and I hope that our listeners will be as well. It's beloved cheesecakes with an s.com. And I'm telling you, you better have your credit card ready because you're going to get on the website and you're going to be, oh, I've got Mother's Day coming up. I've got a birthday, graduation. This is the perfect thing. And just let Jen make your cheesecake. There's like don't even worry about trying to do it yourself. Just let it come to your door. It's amazing. What's your signature cheesecake?
Salted caramel is our signature one. This month, because every month we do a different flavor, and this month we have almond joy, and it's incredible.
Oh my gosh.
And
And you
I don't know, I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't know how
sure.
far is Vermont from Virginia.
It's a ways. It's
Like,
about probably about 800 miles, 700 miles.
okay,
Yeah.
because we have a restaurant called the Meltdown in Vermont that carries our cheesecakes. So
Okay. Well, next time we're up in that neck of the woods, I will go and get your cheesecake. It might be easier just to order it though.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm telling you guys, belovedcheesecakes.com. I showed you some of the pictures. Just go and drool over the website and know that when you buy from them, you are supporting an America first and a
yes,
God first business, more importantly, and a business that employs people from all walks of life and celebrates and encourages and helps people to move in their gifts in spite of challenges.
yes.
So thank you so much, Jen, for being on the show. It's a pleasure, and you're welcome back anytime.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Mary Grace, and I am one of the biggest fans of My Pillow because they have quality America First products that are just made right here in the country, and they last. We have the towels, and I have a big issue with towels that shrink up after the first washing. The My Pillow towels stay color fast, they stay in shape, and they stay that way for years after repeated washings. You can't ask for better. Plus, they actually work. When somebody buys from My Pillow using the promo code Mary Grace, that does a couple of things. It brings in a little bit of an affiliate commission to our company, and it helps us to pay the bills, keep the lights on, keep the internet going, travel to places that we do to give you remote content. And it also helps My Pillow by giving them the support of people who genuinely value quality and companies that support real people right here in the United States and employ people all over this country and give back to this country. Go directly to mypillow.com, use promo code Mary Grace, and buy everything you need for the home. There's no need to spend time shopping anywhere else. Go to mypillow.com, use promo code Mary Grace, get your towels, pillows, sheets, robes, dog beds, pet beds, cat beds, whatever it is that you want for the home. Go to mypillow.com, promo code Mary Grace. It's easy. Don't waste your time anywhere else. Mypillow.com, promo code Mary Grace. Thank you. Listen, your health is your best investment. We have a country to save, and we need people who are in the best shape of their lives, physically, mentally, spiritually. Why not connect with a team who cares about you on every single level from the inside out? Official Synapse is that team. Officialsynapse.com. It's official, synapse.com. Tell them Mary Grace sent you, and they will treat you like family. If you're like most people, you really probably haven't thought about transferring your paper dollars into physical gold and silver. But I want to tell you a story. My friend Andrew Sorcini over at Beverly Hills Precious Metals, he recently went overseas and he wanted to buy a watch. He likes fine watches. He took 3 currencies with him. He took gold, he took Bitcoin, and he took American dollars. Now, there used to be a time when the American dollar was king. I remember that when I used to travel overseas. Everybody wanted dollars. The people that he was dealing with would not take his dollars because the dollar is so devalued around the world. They wanted the gold. So this is what I recommend to you. I want you to think about this. If you have cash in the bank, if you have an investment account that you have worked hard for years to accumulate, consider the value of converting that money into physical gold and silver. You're not buying something that's losing value. You're changing those worthless dollars into a tangible physical asset that will go up in value, which it has done historically. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to go to bh-pm.com. The first thing you're going to do is schedule that free consultation. Second thing, just think rationally about this, pray about it, go to the Lord, see what the best decision for you and your family is. I can't tell you that. I don't want to pressure you into that. What I do know is don't be scared, be prepared. And so the third thing you want to do is make a decision for you and your family. Make a decision, take action. bh-pm.com. Let them know Mary Grace sent you. When it comes to food, we really want to be aware of what is in the food that we're consuming. And that includes different types of technologies, jibber jabbers, technology that can alter your genetic makeup. And this is why we want to focus on American grown beef that isn't injected with things that you wouldn't put into your own body. We really don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. We saw 4 years ago what happened when the whole country shut down and people couldn't even go to the grocery store. We saw what happened when meat and other foods were rationed, and that could happen any day. We want you to be prepared. We want you to take action. And one of the best ways to do that is to secure food for yourself and your family. What better way than to go to griddownchowdown.com, use promo code Mary Grace, get a sustainable, reliable, shelf-stable source of high-quality American beef. All you do is go to griddownchowdown.com, tell them Mary Grace sent you, put your order in the basket and check out, and you're good to go. The other thing you can do is you can get a subscription. If you do a subscription, you're going to get this freeze-dried beef delivered to your door every month. And you're going to save a little bit while you do that. You're going to stockpile it, or you can just cook with it. Some people are just using it for their regular cooking. It's really up to you, but it's super convenient because it's freeze-dried and it's shelf-stable for 12, 15 years or more. I just want to give a shout out to everybody who watches this show. Thank you for being a participant. Thank you for being a loyal audience member. I just want to remind you, if you like what you've seen, please share this and don't forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and also sign up for my email list so you never miss a show.